Welcome to the third video, the third live, the third session of this The Art of Intention discourse, conversation, workshop. So, how are you? Good, thumbs up, very good. So again, welcome to everybody. Welcome to those who are here live and those who will be listen to this in replay. Right. Thank you for your messages. It's been really inspiring to hear your results and how you got on. And so keep it coming. Keep it coming for Friday. Keep coming your questions. So I can speak to them. If there's something now as you're practicing and you're finding it difficult, or you're not sure, or you're asking yourself questions, am I doing it right? Should I be doing it different? And if you think, oh, this is not so complicated, I've known this before, that's it. Okay, it isn't complicated, but it is always good. I feel from my experience, it is always good if we can remind ourselves, of what it takes, inspire ourselves again in order to create momentum, to keep going, and to continue to work with this practice of having intention, having an intentional life. And just right at the beginning, maybe as the opening, I want to just speak to that in one or two sentences. Very often when I get to talk to people in circle a little less, because we have intention in the circles, but particularly when people come to get advice or to do in a one-on-one. And the first question is always, what is your intention? And very often people go like, oh, even in the circles, when we say, what is your intention for the circle? Well, I want to do it. And there's usually a theme, we have some idea, we know that we want to, but to really be clear and to think about it and to voice it, to try to put it into words, we are suddenly realizing that maybe we weren't that clear. And from having an intention and then working with the intention the way you've done for the last couple of days, the way we're going to talk about today, and then also how we're going to conclude on Friday, this practice of being intentional is really something which, without having that in our life, without having that integrated, and with really sitting with ourselves and being clear about this, progress is not really possible. And that's the hard truth. We cannot evolve if we do not sit and listen, and if we are not intentional, and if we are not aligning to a purpose. What we will be doing instead is to float, to be moved with other people's ideas, other people's intentions, thinking processes, opinions, activities. Think about that. So intentional in this world right now, the challenges we face is absolutely important. Because the next sentence I would say is, if you are not clear about your intention and you do not engage, when we have an intention, we on the path to engaging, to saying yes and no, and to adjusting, which is what we're talking about today. If we do not do that, if we are moved with the general idea or even sideline idea, people say, oh, I'm not mainstream. No, but you don't have to be mainstream. You can be on a side group, which is also moving you. You are being moved by some kind of idea from someone else. And when we are not clear about how we're choosing and what we are engaging with, then we're participating in a unintentional way. And maybe I'll share with you just that one episode which got me to make very big changes in my life at some stage. And it was when I began to meditate, when I was in my first course of meditation. And when I started, the couple of really good questions which were asked there, that's for another time. But one of the things I came to realize when I started to still my mind, when I started to sit in silence, is the things which were in my head. And at the time, I was living by myself and I had a television. And at the time, this was like small, white, big televisions with 4 channels and an antenna, that kind of style of thing. And I had the TV on. When I would come home, I would turn on the TV as a company, kind of, as a voice in the room, kind of. And I would do all sorts of things. And I would clean up, and I would arrange my stuff, and I would prepare, and I would do things on the side. But there was the television on, and I did not pay attention to it. I did not sit in front of it and think, okay, what is going on? Really? It was sort of, to some extent, a background noise. And I was hearing some consciously, but some not. And when I started to meditate, I realized that many of the things which were running in the background of my life, which meant the TV on in my room, were in my mind. The thoughts, the messages, it was there, it came up. And I was like so shocked. I mean, it shouldn't have been so surprising, of course, but I was at the time, I was like, wow, I didn't even choose to listen to that. I did not choose. If I say I'm going to watch this program or I'm going to watch these news, and I sit and I watch it and I'm engaging, I have a position in it. But when it runs on the side, and although I might, listening to some of it, but not all of it, because my attention is like diverted into doing other things in the background, then the messages which were coming, what was shared and what I was hearing was still being in my mind, only that I was like not participating. And that really, in some ways, freaked me out. And I got rid of the television, and I didn't have one for many years after that. So this is this way of being intentional, choosing what you engaging yourself with. Because if you're not, you are still influenced, but you lose control over it. So you are it's that idea of like, are you riding the wave, or are you going to let the wave decide where it's going to spit you out at the beach, and not being able to participate in the ride at all? So yeah, that was a bit longer than a couple of sentences, but that is sort of setting the tone for today and for Friday, to just remind ourselves. And I know many of you who I see having signed up, some of you are new, but many of you have been sitting with me in circle for many years. And I know we know that. You know that, I know that. And yet, doing what we've been discussing here, what I've been talking about in the first and the second video, regularly, again and again and again, motivating ourselves, creating momentum, asking the questions, being in reflection, having accountability, all of that is essential. It's the bread and butter of everyday, I want to call mind, personality, I don't know, practice, hygiene, and the way we engage. It is dependent. This will make the difference how we engage. Now, this might sort of like start to sound really serious, but it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be loads of fun. We get to decide how we're going to do it and how we're doing engaging. And sometimes there are periods where we say, okay, it's been too serious. I have worked enough on myself. I need some fun. That's the intention. Okay. And we can then decide how we're going to do this. Okay. And that's what it is about. So in that sense, I want to invite you for those, of course, who are with me, we're doing it right now. If you are on playback, maybe just if you're safe in your environment, just allow yourself to just stop for 1 second, take a deep breath. Just drop into your body physically, into the physical body, feel it. Feel the breath in your chest and in your abdomen. Feel the spine as you're breathing. Just allow yourself to drop into that root chakra, into your legs, connect to your feet, maybe push, make a connection to the earth, to your roots. And then we'll make a connection to the stars, to the spirit world, or the consciousness, the great spirit, the great mother. Whatever names you know it for, connect to that, call it to you, and allow it to draw it in all the way through the crown into your heart. And from the earth, we're drawing up this nurturing, loving, warmth energy from the earth. We're drawing it into our heart through the solar plexus, and in the heart, we let it expand into this beautiful light. In this presence, and with the intention to be present for the next hour or so, to be present in that conversation, to be listening to that which wants to be heard, and to be intentional in our communication. So welcome. Thank you for that. Yeah, very slowly we're coming back, getting our mind ready to listen, to receive. For me too. Sometimes I don't really re-listen the video. It's kind of weird to listen to myself, but when I talk, sometimes I hear certain aspects of what I am saying, and I'm thinking, yeah, I needed to hear that myself. So here we go. Third live session. The idea, my intention for this live session is to offer you ideas and reflections on how to be flexible within that practice. In the first one, we talked about the idea and the structure. In the second one, we talked about how to do it and how to help yourself, and what are the basic structures, what is what's the foundation for this practice. And today we want to see, how can we adapt? How can we make it work for ourselves? How can we use it in a way that it really nourishes us, and that it becomes not some stale routine, that it doesn't become some discipline which we feel like, oh, we have to drag ourselves through, but that it becomes a practice which is deeply inspiring to us, which keeps us awake, which keeps us passionate, which keeps us engaged. So let's do it. I called it adjustability. The idea is to really look at what are the aspects of that. So I'm going to talk about two major parts of it. I'm going to split the conversation in two aspects. So the first one is about the structure, okay? The mechanics of what we've discussed in the last couple of times. How do we adjust, and what happens when we see that we're dropping off, we're not doing it, all of that, when we have difficulties. So we're looking at the mechanical, the structure, and how we follow the basic structure and how we can adapt it. And the second aspect, I will be talking about expanding the aspect of reflection, which comes in with the intention setting, and how this can really become a deep practice or lead us into a deeper reflection, in a deeper connection to ourselves, and into a deeper practice. So when I talk about adjustability, the first thing to be talking about is like, here I am, let's say you've been practicing your intention. And so at the beginning, you set up your altar, you have some intention, you're writing it down, this is all good. And here you are, you're doing it regularly. And then something happens. Two things usually. Number one, things happen. First, what happens is like, we kind of like feel like, so what's my intention? I don't know. We find it difficult to really come up with something or be clear about it. And so then it becomes, then we're just choosing anything. And so we cut it, we sort of skim on it. We don't allow ourselves to sit with that. And in that, I want to talk towards that feeling of discomfort, irritability, doubt. All of these first initial questions is like, our momentum, which we've created on a regular basis, suddenly gets a little resistance. And when that happens, we go back to the drawing board. We go back and look at what is the basic structure. We said that we want a sacred space, something which is visible to you, so that you get reminders in the day, that you get reminders in the morning, in the evening, however you set that, a reminder that this is part of your routine. And so make that fun, make it beautiful, make it part of your morning coffee ritual, or whatever it is, make it part of your meditation. Set yourself up a little message on your phone on a regular basis, whatever it is, put your intention card in the car with you. Okay. The other thing is when you are not sure, okay, when you worked on intention and then you're thinking like, oh, I don't know, I can't come up with something. I feel I'm forcing it. I feel like I am trying to be intentional. Like, let's say you don't know what to do, and then you're thinking, oh, I want to be peaceful. And that is sometimes, you think like, yeah, of course I want to be peaceful, but what does it even mean? And so here you have an intention, and on your little card is peace. And then you're thinking like, what does that mean? And there you are, you're at the right place. Because what you then do is you allow that intention to become a contemplation, a reflection. What does peace mean? How does peace come about? When do you feel peaceful? And you write down all these questions you could ask yourself, or you do a brainstorm session. What peace means to you, and where is it present in your life? Where is it missing in your life? That kind of thing. And then you write these down in your journal, these questions, and your intention then becomes a practice of a week or 2 weeks even. You then say, okay, for the next week, I will contemplate on peace. and you spend the same time of meditation. You ask yourself the question and then you answer it. And then when you come to this contemplation, you will come to like, how do I create peace? When do I feel peaceful? And when you are able to say, oh, I feel peaceful when I am practicing this, when I do enough yoga, when I go out in the garden, when I get free time for myself, when I turn off the phone, when I meet friends, when I have like exchanges with, when I sit with others in a good intention, then you make a list of that and then you practice peace. And then the next step, and now I'm already at the second part, expanding reflection. And then you can go and observe. Another intention could be to observe then, when is my peace disturbed? And what disturbs my peace? And why? So I'm going to back up because I'm already in the second part, but it's a natural progression, so I can't help it. So when we have lack of inspiration, allow yourself to have a structure where you can draw inspiration. So in my seasonal ritual boxes, every season box, one for each season, has a little notebook and it has ritual cards. Intention cards for the intention ritual. So you've seen them in the images which you get in your emails. I've used them. So you make yourself a little card and then you write your inspiration for the week and you leave it on your intention altar for the time you are working with. And so as you go along, these accumulate with all sorts. One is peace, one is love, one is patience, one is purpose, one is transformation, whatever intention you have. One could be just a reflection on an image, you get it. So when you have these times when you cannot think of something, just draw one, like a message for the day. Let yourself be inspired by your previous intentions. You can have a tarot or a tarot deck or goddess deck, these cards, which different themes and different message. I have a friend who's been, her intention is like to draw a rune every day and let the message of the rune take her through the day and her day reflections. And it's been beautiful. It really, really worked well. So have something ready that when you have resistance, when you are busy, when your mind isn't focused, when you're not inspired, that you can actually get yourself inspiration. You draw from that, and it sits right there on your intention altar. So you're not missing practice. You're not missing doing it because the inspiration doesn't come from you. Okay. The other problem which happens, of course, and that is also really normal, is that we drop off the practice. We do it for a while and then suddenly forget, or we don't feel like it, and so we don't do it. And then we don't do it one day, we don't do it 2 days, we don't do it 3 days, and suddenly there's dust on our intention altar. And we realize we haven't done it for a while. And so then just don't give yourself a hard time. Pick it up right there and then. Just take an intention, be inspired by something, clean up your altar, and then make the intention to make that time again, to go back into the practice. When that happens a lot, when we really find that we can't maintain a practice, we go back to the drawing board. The questions, what I said in the first and the second video. Is your intention, is that what you're expecting of yourself? Is it too high? Did you make an unrealistic intention? Did you ask yourself to do something which just simply cannot fit into your day? Just simply because you have already too much, so you're not meditating an hour every day. It's not realistic. It would be okay to meditate 10 minutes every day, and that would be better than not doing it at all. And not only not doing it, but then also judging yourself for it and feeling like you failed. Okay, and we've had that. So when you have the practice which doesn't work for you, then go back to the drawing board and see, is my practice, is the what I'm asking myself to do, is it realistic? Is it relevant? Have I, I'm going to say like a whole bunch of things in today and a half. You think, oh, that's a good idea. So you are doing what I said to do, and then you suddenly realize, you know, it sounded good when I said it, and it's fun for a bit, but it's not you. It's the wrong time of the day. It's the wrong practice. You don't function like that. It doesn't inspire you. And so make it relevant to you and your time and the demand in your life. These are the major parts. Is it realistic? Is it relevant? Is it the right time? And how can I adapt? Now, for those of you who know me, you know that I am always talking about the minimum practice. And that is something which I'm going to mention here too. There is a minimum practice, everyday practice, which has to be present. It's like brushing your teeth. You're not going out the house until you brush your teeth, even if you're late, even if you're super late. You'd rather be later, more late, and have your teeth brushed than running out the house without brushing your teeth. Okay, it's that kind of scenario. So you do something which you are very comfortable with, which really nourishes you, which is easy for you to do, even if you just go through the motions and you feel sometimes you are not 100% present, but you're doing it anyway. Okay, that's your minimum practice. We are not negotiating that. We're not talking about it. There is no reason for not doing it. But everything else, if you come to a point where you realize that again and again and again, or regularly, you are not able to do the practice, then you need to look at the relevance, at the timing, at the expectation you have of yourself, and what it is that if it's appropriate to you, if it's still inspiring, all of these things. And then also what we need to know, and what we need to remember is that life changes, life demand changes, the time we have changes, the moods we have changed. So we need to adapt to it. So if, for instance, it is pre-Christmas time, your kids have corals, there are all sorts of markets going on. Maybe the school is closed because there's a snow day and it's piling up. And you are also at work, on a deadline of something. Then you need to adapt. Then it might not be able for you to really have that much time. Or you might say, well, I still want to do it, but I'm going to do it with the children. Or I am absolutely want to do it, and I know that this keeps me up, so I am going to let something else go. Or I'm adapting it and I'm doing it in the car, but I'm doing it. Or maybe just saying, okay, I'm not doing it. I can't. I do my minimum practice. I can't do it. Anything else has to wait. But then you set yourself a date. Okay, this is until then, there is a stress time. Until then, there is a different demand. Until then, I have to focus on something else. And then you pick it up after. You make yourself a note. You make yourself a little notice, a little message to yourself. You take an appointment with yourself in your diary. I am starting my intention diary again on, I don't know, in a week's time, in 10 days' time after Christmas, whatever it is. Yeah. So these are the things of which we, to make it really alive. And it speaks to something deeper, and it speaks to the cycles of life. It speaks to the seasons, day and night, as we moving. We are cyclical. Our life is cyclical. We have organized ourselves to be very linear, and that disconnect, and that I'd even say conflict, is something which, because it's a conflict and because it creates stress, we have allowed in many ways in our society, in the way we live, in the way we expect ourselves to function, we have allowed ourselves to therefore be disconnected from the cycles of life. We are disconnected from nature in a huge part, in a huge, huge, huge part. And when we disconnected from nature, we are disconnected from ourselves and the cycles which come naturally with it. We have forgotten to really understand the value and the teachings, I'd say, the messages and the inspirations which lie within the seasons. Those of you which journeyed with me for a while, you know this, that I am all what I do, I set within the seasons because it's what's right there. It's right outside the window. It's in the sky at night and at day. It is in our rhythms. You know, most of us we get up in the morning and we go to bed at night. So that we reconnect to that, and when we allow ourselves to reconnect to that, we learn naturally that nothing ever stays the same. And the conditions change, and therefore how we interact with these conditions, how we are present in these changes, also means that we go through these phases of creating something new, bringing it to flourishment, ending it, coming to finish something and resting. The routine of the cycle of the day, the cycle of the year, the cycle of life. And so this is one of, or the major one, in fact, of the ways where you, when you are able to reconnect with that, with the cycles in which you live and the cycles which also are present within you, there is no lack of inspiration for your intention. Everything becomes intentional right there and then if you connect it. There is no lack of inspiration of what to choose because it is right there. Okay, we're in this phase of the day, we're in this phase of the year, I'm in this phase of my life. What are the lessons in there? How can I be inspired? How do I live it? And we are there as an observer, and a participator. And it becomes super interactive. Okay, so so this is one way of like really getting inspired, you know, by allowing yourself to remember the adjustability, remember the cycles, let yourself be inspired by the cycles which are there. Honor yourself in these cycles also. Remember that this linear going in my go, 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 be it night, be it day, be it winter, summer, autumn, whatever happens, you know, we go. And we have a focus and we just go with that. Instead of knowing that even if I'm holding an intention, the way I hold this intention, be it in a time of reflection, of nourishment, of silence, is different than I hold this intention in activity. But I still have the same intention. And so this will teach us how to interact. And if that is something which inspires you, look at the posts I do, the little messages I do, but the circles we do, and the seasons. Look at what it means and how it works to walk with the seasons, to honor the solstices, to honor this, the presence of the sun, the presence of the moon, to go with the cycle of the moon, to go with the cycle of the sun, the solstices, the equinoxes, as this moment of time when you stop. You stop, you turn within, and you ask yourself, where am I? What is my small intention? What's my big intention? What's my purpose? Why am I here? What have I learned? How do I integrate that? And what intention grows out naturally from that for the next step, for the next season? And when we then come to the equinox, we do the same thing. We sit in balance and in this moment of suspension and freedom, as all of the energies within the universe are in exact balance. We take a breath there to carry us on into the next rhythm. So we have these opportunities to sit and be inspired and be carried. Me personally, this is one of the things which inspires me in that so much, because it really reminds me that it's not all on my shoulders. It's not all my responsibility. There's so much which carries me, which inspires me. There's the love of the goddess right there, the love of Mother Nature, the love of the presence of the sun, which is going to rise every morning, regardless. And the moon, which is shining bright regularly, not today because we're in new moon, but then it will rise again. Okay. So these structures are there for us to support our practice. So when you come to really have this kind of resistance or this kind of that becomes difficult, go back to the drawing board, ask yourself, is it realistic? Have I made the right intentions, or have I asked too much of me? What is appropriate for me right now, right today, at this period, and for how long am I maintaining it? Is it relevant to me? Does it apply to what life asks of me right now? Or do I want to shift it around? Do I need something else? Is it inspirational? And then use your diary. Use your diary and use your intention diary to really look. Is it what really is happening? Am I doing it? If you're doing it, don't hit yourself on the head. If you find it difficult of doing it, try to see what it is. And then the next thing, and that'll be the bridge into, the second part of adjusting to our intention practice, is to expand the reflection, which we have in our intention setting, the reflection, which is us. So the other thing which goes to adjustability and accountability is community, support. We are not asked to do this by ourselves. And like I just said, for me, I get a lot of support from the fact that I look out the window and I see the sun rising in the morning. I see nature waving at me through the movement in the trees and the falling of the snow and, the rain and all the rest of it. It is deeply, deeply comforting and nurturing to me. And so this presence of this wisdom, and of the Divine Mother in the reflection of nature is deeply nourishing to me. But we do need people, we do need we need the support of others who maybe practice the same thing or practice something else, but also need support. So I call that sacred community. It's sacred because we come together in order to see the other person and be seen in our totality, in our medicine, and in the way we walk our life. And that makes it sacred. And every moment of that is sacred because we are honoring the medicine of the other person, and we allow ourselves to be seen. So the community, whatever that means for you, walk with someone, talk to someone. Sometimes what I do is like I name it. I name what I'm going to do. I'm saying it out loud to first to my husband and then maybe to other people. And the more you say it, the more you know that you made how do you call that? A commitment. You made a commitment, and so you will have someone's, more likely saying, "How is that going?" Like my teacher said to me, because I was in the course, "How is your meditation going?" And the conversation which gave me the support came out of that question. So when we announce ourselves loudly that this is my intention, I'm going to do whatever, then that is already helpful, because the universe also then really brings up all the support it can. And that is something I want to talk maybe next time to a little deeper, but I've mentioned it now. Intention is this big voice to the universe. This is where I'm going. And when you say it, when you clear it, the universe can line up behind you on either side of you and really help you move forward in that. And so this is the other aspect of manifestation when we talk about intentions. But when I talk about the support, I talk about support of your community, and I call them sacred circle. Go somewhere, go and sit with other people. And there are tons of things. You can sit with people to chant, you can sit with people to be silent, you can go to people who are doing exercises. And the advantage of this is that all you need to do is you need to get there. And then you're held by the energy of the group. You're supported. You can share. You hear through the sharing of other people also their struggles, their successes, and therefore that inspires us. And we usually come out and we go like, "Yeah, nice, okay." And we heard something which helps us along. So the support is super important also. And for those who follow me, there are circles, there are online courses, there are courses which are sort of self-study with a little bit of contact, and then there are things which are full-on personally present, even if it's online. The journey circles is something where you turn up and you participate and you're there. We see each other and we talk to each other just like if we would be in a room. So all variations are available. And obviously the one which is, I feel, one of the most transformative ones is the journey around the year, the wisdom of the seasons, where you will journey, be present with that movement around the year in order to learn all about the teachings which are held and present in each season and how to apply them to your intention setting and to your path. So, second part of the adaptability is how to expand this practice of intention into a practice which becomes a practice of being present in your life and really looking at being the witness at what effects do certain situations have on you and how can you engage with them. And then also, how can you, from that process on, how can you adopt your intention in a way that you will get a clearer result. If your intention is to be happy, then that's nice. I want to be happy. So every morning I get up and I go and I write happiness on my little card and I put it up and I go happy, 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 happy. And Okay, maybe that makes you a little happy. But the point is then, when we go into the deeper reflection, and that's what I said about peace earlier on, we go to think about, okay, what does happiness mean? When am I happy? When I'm not happy? You bear witness to what is happening in your life, and you're writing it down. And then you suddenly go, I want to, you're narrowing it down. I want to not be happy. I want to be content. This is a little more refined from happiness. I want to be peaceful. I want to, and it grows out of that. And it becomes this journey of harnessing the quality of your intention, the clarity of your intention. And therefore, it becomes a self reflection piece, which allows you to go as deep as you want, and is also a life practice, because we never finish that. For those of you who do shamanic journeying with me, you know this, that when we work on the quality of our intention and the way we voice the intention, it also has an immediate effect on the message which we get back in our shamanic journey. And if you have not journeyed yet, if you do not do shamanic journey, I would honestly, from the bottom of my heart, ask you, please try. Please, please, please try, unless you have already a really beautiful, regular, daily way of communicating with spirit, with the wisdom, with your inner wisdom, if you have a meditation practice, etc. Although I also had that when I learned shamanic journeying, and when I was introduced to it, I was like, oh, not another practice, come on. Been doing this all my life, and I've done I don't know how many spiritual practices, and I don't need anything else. I have what I have works. Nevertheless, I was convinced to participate in a course, and I did, and I am so grateful today to having made that step, because what shamanic journey brings towards, which many of you know, which is my intention and why I choose this technique to share this technique. It is a direct revelation. Shamanic journey is a direct revelation, which means it's a communication between you and spirit. Nobody can tell you what the images, the messages you get, what they mean. When we sit in sharing circle and we do shamanic journeying, we do share some parts or all parts of our journey after between ourselves. And it helps us to place maybe messages which lie within it, which we personally haven't thought of. It's like dreams. When you talk about dreams to someone else, they cannot tell you what your dream meant to you. They can only say, oh, have you thought of it like that? Have you looked at it like this? And what? Asking you questions. What does it mean when you see water to you? Does it trigger an emotion, or those kind of things? And so we do that, but everything else, and the final interpretation of the communication with spirit, which happens in direct revelation in shamanic journey, lies with you. And as a result out of that, it brings confidence in your communication. It brings confidence into your intuition. It brings strength and awareness to your abilities of communication with your inner wisdom. And when we go into shamanic journey, we always go with an intention. We don't just go to float and be happy somewhere in space or in some other state of mind. No, that's not what it is about. Shamanic journeying is we go with an intention into non-ordinary reality to get a message, to get an experience, to build reference, to remember, and then we bring it back and we apply it to life. And so we get to really work with our intention, because sometimes we have an intention to ask to that wisdom, and then the answer we get is like, really, it didn't really do it. It doesn't really mean anything. I don't understand it. And we get to think, okay, did I ask my question right? Do I need to reword it? Is it clear enough? If it's like, give me an idea, okay, I get lots of ideas. But it's like, what piece of it is hurting me or is blocking me, then I will get a different answer. You understand? So this way of really looking, what was my intention? What am I getting back? I had this intention, but I'm not getting a result. So I need to look at, how did I ask it? What was underlying? What was behind it? Did I ask the right question? Was I truthful to myself when I set this intention? Or was I exaggerating? Was I not actually really hearing the response because I don't want to have the answer? All of this is big. So after the moment when you checked that your structure and your basic foundation of your practice is solid, that you are not asking too much of you, that it's relevant, that it's the right time, that it's, all of that is good, then we come into these reflection times. What is my intention? And there are big questions to be asked. And it doesn't always have to be complicated. What is my intention? Just for today. So for the next couple of days, because it's pre-Christmas time, it's super busy. I'm super busy. I'm holding circle every single night of the week and in the day. My intention is to sit with my practice, with my listening once a day, to really make sure that I stay connected to my journey, because I have the personal journey which goes on, and tomorrow is new moon and next week is solstice. I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss out just because I'm running around. And so because I know I can do it, I like it, I need it, I have experience in it, but because I also want it to be joyful, this year in particular, there's so many influences and what goes on in the world, is I find it difficult to find my place and stay heart open, joyful and hopeful and positive. So in order to go into true celebration of this beautiful, beautiful period of Renaissance, which we are journeying into for this December, end of December season. So I have a friend who does who does journey circles or something similar, and I signed up with her. So I'm sitting in circle with others. It's very flexible. It's like what I do here now. So I don't have to be present, fortunately, because it's in Europe and it would be in the middle of the night. So, get yourself support. Find a structure which helps you to be held in a way that inspires you and nourishes you and really brings forward these reflections which allow you to go deeper. So let me see. I could go on, but that's for that's for Friday. If I have forgotten something, the structure we said, bring and expand, really give. Yes. So this intention practice Keep it small, keep it easy, keep it fun for an everyday thing. It can be, and then it can go bigger. It can be going into bigger reflections at certain times, and then see what it brings you to, what you need to create a sacred circle for yourself and sacred circle with others to really connect to your inner wisdom, to your purpose, what it is that you want to create in order to be able to participate, to be present, to be engaged, and to be sovereign in your choice of how you're turning up. And it isn't even what you do, but how you're turning up when you're doing it. We often say it isn't so important, it's your intention counts. Someone can be meditating every single day, and while they have their eyes closed and sit in silence, their mind is dull, or they're even like really having conversations and arguments with the neighbor, and all in their head. And there can be someone who is never sitting for meditation. They're never sitting down in silence, but they are so present with their intention that as they move in the world, they are in meditation. Okay. So, this idea of community, of sacred circle, of sitting with others, when we amplify, when we sit together, when we get together, when we share in community, we amplify. We amplify in intent and integration. So we create something which is bigger than each one of us, or the sum of all. When you ask large questions, asking the bigger questions gives us access to a larger life. So this really important part of like reflection, allow yourself that intentional practice to drop into deep reflection, questions which you can't just answer like that. Journey questions where you may have to journey 2, 3, 4, 5 times in order to even maybe start to harness some kind of contact with something which then becomes an inspiration and a question and a reflection and a contemplation, which might take 1 year completely or longer. So asking larger questions gives us access to a larger life. And if you shift, the world shifts. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. I hope you were inspired. Keep your questions coming. And I very much look forward to see you on